Hi, welcome to Interactive Storytelling with Ink. My name is James. I'm a digital services technician here at Richmond Public Library, and I am going to be showing you how to do some interactive storytelling by making a game app using a program called Ink. If this is your first time tuning in, be aware that there are two other programs of this sort that actually show you how to find ink, how to use it. It's a open source program that's free. I'm not going to go into that, of course, this time because we only have an hour. And you can always go back and you can look. And just so you're also aware, on the Richmond Public Library YouTube, that's where everything is archived. So if you haven't watched those editions, and please go back, definitely watch them. Today, what we're going to be looking at is the ink program that I created and or am creating. It's actually not even close to being finished, and it looks like this. So we're going to be looking at this, and we're going to be talking about what it means to debug your writing program. So right now, my game is called the Lich King. I will show you how it looks right now. I did get to test it. So I tested it on uh, um, an Android. What I did was I exported it as an APK file, which next week, or actually not next week, sorry, next week the interactive storytelling program will pause, and but the week after, so 2 weeks from now on Thursday, where I'm going to show you how to export as an HTML and to make it into an APK file so that you can put it onto something like like your phone, like this. And this one here, I actually do have it on. I'm going to show you real quick, and it actually looks like uh, there we go. Uh, you know what? I might not be able to show you, but yeah, you know what? It doesn't show up, so which is kind of unfortunate. But next week I'll bring a cable so that I can actually hook it up so I can show you. But what I can show you, what it looks like as an HTML. So as an HTML file, it looks like this, and this is. I'm just gonna put this other screen over here for now. Uh, and this works. How it works on here is actually is how it's going to work on the APK file. So it's really good to test it out in here. You can even give the HTML file or upload it to a website or anything like that. It works. It's HTML. It works just like HTML, of course. So not reading the story because I've read it before. You're basically coming. You live in a town where there's this legend of the Lich. They were a creature that was defeated many years ago. There's a festival of the Lich going on, and I actually added a create your own character portion of it that I'll show you using variables, which we learned last week. So I'm going to create my character. It randomly rolls for your strength, intelligence, dexterity, constitution, and health. So that way it's not the same game every single time. So you don't always start off with the same pluses. All of these bonuses and even your health can be changed with things that you find in the game. Again, I'm using variables for that, which I'm going to show you. And then I'm going to continue. And so as I continue, I actually have a choice of, Bailey comes up to me and says, hey, what's going on? So I have a choice where I can either tell Bailey that, I'm just celebrating, just leave me alone. Or I can say, I'd rather be adventuring for real. So if I choose the leave me alone, it ends the game. That's the choices that you make. So I'm gonna have it that I actually say that I would that I'm adventuring, and then Bailey realizes, you want to hunt the real Lich King, and I have a choice here where I can buy the map. I can not buy the map. I can buy some weapons, not buy some weapons. I can also check my inventory, or I can just go right to the dungeon. So if I check my inventory, I can see them carrying a rucksack, 100 gold. Right now I'm armed with just my fists. I have a hefty wool sweater knit by my dad, and that's it. That's all I've got. So I'm going to return to the quest. And I set it up so that if you do buy stuff, at this point, all you can really afford is the map, a basic sword, and armor. But there are other things that you could have. So if I click on weapons and stuff, I can say tools, and under tools, there's lockpicks, there's a skeleton key, And under weapons, there's lots of really cool weapons. You know what? I'm just gonna go for a hammer for 70 gold, and I'm gonna be on my way. And I'm gonna say that's good, just the hammer. So now it goes into the game portion of it, where you're going down into the Lich. For those of you who may be tuning in for the first time, the pictures that I have on here, I got all from Pixabay, so I'm not just getting things from Google and randomly taking things. You should always make sure that pictures are free to use. So now I'm going to continue climbing down the steps, continue again. And the reason why I have so many continues there is because when you're playing it on a little screen, like this, you really want to make sure that there's not a whole lot of text on here where you're constantly scrolling up and down. So basically, I have a little bit of text and then an option to continue as you go. Um, so now I have some options. What I do want to show you, so I'm going to actually just go right to follow the corridor, is because I want to show you how I've changed the battle scenes. And that's what we're actually going to debug, because the battle scenes aren't quite working. And that's what we're going to work on. I'm going to show you. So here you can see, okay, the picture isn't working for one thing. Because it's HTML, I can actually fix that right now, and I'll show you how. So strength +5, intelligence +3. So this is what I'm going to be battling. I'm going to make sure that it doesn't just say a goblin. I want it to say, out from the shadows, a goblin pounces on you, or something like that. And all of these other things are randomly rolled. So even if you meet a goblin 10 times in the game, it's always going to be different. So it's not necessary. This is actually a pretty hard one to battle. I'm kind of regretting not getting the armor, I'm going to admit. So I can use my Fists of Fury. So will you use your Fists of Fury? Remember that you can kick as long as you've stretched first and prepare for battle. So I'm going to say yes. If I say no, it's game over. So you're basically going to turn your back on the goblin and he's going to get you. So I'm going to say yes. And the goblin circles ready to attack. You're pushed by the goblin to the ground. So so he's pretty tough. So I can keep fighting or I can run away. I'm going to keep fighting. You're shoved by the goblin hard in the chest. I'm going to keep fighting. And one of my coworkers, actually, when I gave him this to give it a try, one of the comments he had for me, because it's really important when you're debugging your game or you're checking out your game, that you have people test play it to see where the bugs are, and also too to see what you maybe thought was obvious but isn't obvious to others. One of the things he would have liked to have known is what are his hit points, like what's his health at, and because there's no way of finding that out. So that's one thing we're going to add is we're going to add you're just going to say keep fighting, run away, and check your stats. And that's going to be something because maybe you want to switch swords or switch weapons rather, or you have you found a scroll that takes care of goblins. So I'm going to say keep fighting. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the end of me, and yeah, boy, I'm not doing very well here at all. I'm shoved to the ground, I'm pushed, and it's going to keep on going like this. So I have a feeling that one of the things that maybe I forgot to do, because it shouldn't be going on this long, if I'm losing this badly is that it's not actually minusing any of my health. So let's take a look at the code and let's see what's going on in there. And so I am going to do that, and there we go. Okay, so here's the code, and let's see if that that didn't make it better. There, I'm just gonna bring that back. There we go. Okay, that's better. So this is the code. So I have individual files for all of the things that are happening, because it makes it really easy to program. Because here I know what I want to change are two things. I want to change the fight sequence, which is right here, and I also want to change the monster sequence right down here. You attach all of your files, just as a reminder, in your main file. My main ink file, and it says here main ink file, is my Lich King, and these are where all my variables are. So VAR stands for variable, and then I give it a variable. So for example, under my monster variables, I have VAR A_monster. So A_monster is my variable that's going to change throughout the game. And right now it equals just quotes. It has no value. And same with my variable monster strength, intelligence, dexterity, blah, blah, blah. So these are all of the variables for my for my monster. So there's also my variable for some of the battle sequences. But what I wanted to show you is all the include things. If you see on the left hand side where it has it out, one thing that makes it a little bit easier to program is if you have things that are similar altogether. So for example, include monsters and fight sequence. I am actually going to put these two beside each other. So I'm just going to copy and delete it from here. And then I'm going to have a whole bunch of error, well, one error because it's gone, and the file doesn't technically exist in the game. And then I'm going to paste it underneath here. So now I'm not going to do this right now, but when if I reload this under the main ink file over here on the left, under fight sequence, monsters is going to be right underneath it. So I'm not constantly going all the way down to monsters and then going all the way up to fight sequence just so that I can fix this. In order to test the game, and remember on the right hand side here, I don't have to go into the HTML because when I make changes here, it's not going to actually make any changes in my HTML file. Because the HTML file was exported, so they're not connected at all. So the Lich King here, uh, on the right hand side where it says Lich King, that's where I can test it. So now what I'm going to do is we're gonna fix this error that we have in here, and then we're gonna see that it's working on the right hand side. What we don't get to see, which is kind of unfortunate, is any of the images because the images don't show up in the ink programming app. But it does, you can see it has a little placeholder and it actually just tells me what image is going to show up. So for example, that one image didn't show up, so I'm just going to look at it. So monsters. So what I did was I made something so that I can have a whole bunch of different monsters that show up at for different times, or if I wanted to, I could actually have it so that it's completely random, and then it's always different. That way, if you go down the corridor, you're not thinking, oh, there's a goblin over there. But maybe if you're writing your story, it makes sense for the goblin to be there, so you want the goblin to be there all the time. So you can also do that. So what I've done is I've created the stitch monster. So 3 equal signs makes my stitch. I'm telling it pound space clear. Clear has to be in uppercase, and so that means when this scene starts, the whatever else is on the screen is going to disappear. Makes it a little bit easier to for the player to read. And then I have // goblin. So that // is, oh, if you have a space on a line, you can see there's a space line 3, line 5. The space is ignored. It just makes it easier for you to look at when you're programming. So the // is just a note. It's ignored by the game. It's you can even go if I wanted to make it a whole sentence, I could go um, // and then I believe it's asterisk and then goblin and then asterisk // Oh no, maybe that wasn't it. Yep, just like that, and then that's also going to give it a longer notation. But I'm not going to do that because I don't need to. So I'm just going to keep it like that. Okay. So the tilde and then the a underscore monster. Remember that's a variable that I gave a value to. So I had given it a value of the 2 quotation marks, which was empty. So now I'm going to say that tilde. So the tilde means that tells the game to expect a change in a variable. And then the variable that is expecting the change in, it's going to be a underscore monster. I'm saying that it's equal to, because I'm giving it a name. So in quotation marks, I'm going to give it a name, and the name is goblin. So whatever name I give it there, if you remember in the battle, it said, you're pushed by the goblin to the ground. If I had called this hobgoblin, it would have said you're pushed by the hobgoblin to the ground because it's looking for that variable. I'll show you how that works in just a moment. And then what I wanted to do is I wanted to randomly give me stats for this monster. I've decided that the stats I'm using as bonuses to different types of rolls. So I made the goblin actually pretty hard. The goblin is actually technically equal to the player. So what I could do to make that a little bit easier is say, the tilde. So I'm making sure that the game understands that there's going to be a change to a variable. The variable is monster underscore str, and I'm going to say this equal to, and in all caps, I say random, and random tells the program to expect that there's going to be a randomized number. So it's kind of like rolling the dice. So if you play any kind of tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or anything like that, then this is like rolling that 20-sided die. So I have it between 1 and 5, so basically it's like rolling a 5-sided die. But I'm actually going to say between 1 and 3, and that's going to make the goblin not as tough as the human. And then the health, so I have monster health. I'm going to say between 3 and say 3 and 5. So now the goblin's not as tough, definitely a little bit easier to battle. Your personal stats as the person is the hit points are between 1 and 10, not between 3 and 5. Or actually, it's between 3 and 10. So hopefully you'll be stronger than this creature. So you can see it here it just says a goblin. So remember, I wanted to say a little bit more. So I'm actually not going to change it here, and I'll show you why in just a second. But uh, yeah, so this has goblin. The other, like if I wanted to, for example, just to show you, instead of it saying a goblin, I could also, because I could actually reuse all of this for all of the other monsters, and I'll show you how I could do that. So what I could do is I could actually just say open squiggly brackets a underscore monster close squiggly brackets, whatever they're called, and now whatever that variable is going to be put there. So we know that it's a goblin for now, but what I could do is and then the image that it's going to show up is goblin.jpg. So unfortunately OBS isn't going to show you this, but I'm very quickly going to look at my images to find out why that image didn't show up in the HTML. And I'm going to fix that. So I'm just going to look at to see what it is called. Oh, I see. Okay, so the reason is because I have it as a JPEG, and it's actually a PNG. And the important thing here is that when you're adding in these extra things for when you make it into either HTML or a web app, the pound image colon space, you want to have it that'll just go to the root folder. So I have it in another folder called images because it just makes all the files easier to find. So you want images forward slash and then the file name, and that way it goes to your root folder and then images forward slash goblin. Okay, so now we have yeah, so now that actually should work. So let's test this out. So in order to test this out, because one of the things that I have too is I don't want it to always have a battle in the exact same space or exact same place all the time. I wanted to make that a little bit randomized. So in the fight sequence, in the beginning, where it says fight scene, there's this thing called temp dice roll. So dice roll is actually just it's just a variable, and it can be actually be anything. So in the other thing, for example, it was monster underscore str for strength, but in this case, the temp means that this variable dice underscore roll isn't actually included in the long list of variables that I have over here. It's just a temporary variable that the game can expect to be used just this once. And as soon as you've used it, as soon as you go, if you go to use it again later on, it's not going to maintain the same value. So going back to the fight sequence, but you can see here this temporary dice roll. The reason why I have all of this here is because it's a randomized thing that if you roll a 20-sided die and you roll over 12, then there's no battle. But if you roll under 12, then there's a battle. So I have actually you can see commented all these out. I put in the forward slashes, and the reason why I commented them all out is because when I'm testing the game, I wanted it to go. I wanted it to go to the battle scene, but when I didn't comment these things out, for some reason, I was just I kept rolling that no battle took place, so I wasn't able to. I had to keep restarting the game and try again, restart the game, try again. So in this case, I've just commented them out, and then when I have the fight scenes all working properly, then I will uncomment them out and put that back. So let's just test that out and see what we've got so far. So continue to create your character. I'm going to go for she, her. And and then you'll notice too that when you test it out, all of the things that only show up in the HTML page, like the image and stuff, it doesn't show up where it should show up. It looks like it's going to be like strength and then the image and then the rest of it. It's not going to show up like that. It'll actually show up however you have it here on the left hand side. So don't pay too much attention to this right hand side in terms of those the pound kind of commands. Just ignore that. Just make sure that you have the file name correct. Because as you can see, if you have the file name incorrect, then it doesn't work. Okay, so here's my character. I've got +4 strength, +3 intelligence, +3 dexterity, +2 constitution, and 5 health. It's not bad actually. I'm gonna continue, and then Festival of the Lich. Okay, so because I just want to test out the fight sequence, I'm just gonna say I'd rather be adventuring for real, and I'm gonna go right to the Lich. So be on your way. And continue. I'm not going to read all of that again. Take the south door. Okay, so I'm going to go down the corridor because I know that there's going to be a battle there. So there we go. Okay, so you see a goblin. The reason why I didn't put in anything else before that is because in that dice roll where I made it randomized, there's actually it actually says UC, and that will show up when I uncomment it. So if I wanted to, I could actually put in more there, which I probably would. So okay, so now I've come up on a goblin +4, +3. Ooh, oh, actually pretty equal to me, even though he was rolling like half of what I was rolling. So now we'll use your Fist of Fury. Hold on, I just want to check something because I thought I said monster strength would be random 1 to 3, but he's got a strength of +4. Okay, so monster strength. Oh, you know why? Because when so on the left hand side where it says strength, intelligence, dexterity for the monster, I've actually got STR, and that's for me. That's actually all my stats. That's why he looks like he's an equal to me, is because technically he is. So I'm going to fix that by putting in the proper variable to look for here, and then you'll see it repair itself on the other side. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. You can see didn't do as well on strength, which is actually good for this case. And then as I do this, I might actually wind up confusing the game a little, and I might have to just sort of start again so that I can test it. But okay, let's see what his hit points are here. Pretty equal. Okay, the hit points are equal to mine, but definitely not as strong and not as intelligent. Will use your Fist of Fury and prepare for battle. So I'm going to say yeah. So let's see if this works. So goblin circles ready to attack. You're clobbered by the goblin in the head. So if you remember, it just kept on doing this, right? Oh, yeah, you were shoved by the goblin. So let's see why it's doing this. Let's go over and we're going to look at... where is it here? The fight sequence. And okay, so here's what we have. So this part here, it's just going to skip because it's all commented out, and it's going to go right to fight scene, go. And the first thing it does is it goes and it checks monsters. So the monsters is that file that actually says that it's a goblin that I can add more monsters to. And by doing that, if if later on I want to change out the monsters or something, it just makes it a lot easier if I have just that one item just in one file. So it's going to go check out monsters, and then it's going to return after it figures out what it's going to be and come back to start battle. Okay, will you use your weapon and prepare for battle? If I'd bought the sword and armed myself with the sword, it would have said, will you use your sword and prepare for battle? But because I didn't buy anything from Bailey's, then that means I'm just using my hands. So yes, and if I say yes, the monster circles looks about the pounds and arrows its eyes. Okay, so the reason why I have this is okay. So you'll notice I have the variable, the squiggly brackets, and then the variable a underscore monster, which right now is equal to goblin. I could have that equal to centipede. I could have that equal to zombie, to anything. And then I have the squiggly brackets, the tilde, and then I have circles, line, looks about the pounds, line, narrows its eyes, tilde. So what that does is it randomizes circles, looks about the pounds, and narrows its eyes, so that it's not the same thing over and over again. So that it's not, the goblin looks about the pounce, ready to attack. The goblin looks about the pounce, ready to attack. Blah 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 blah. So this makes it randomized, and it just makes it a little bit more interesting. And then it goes to fight again. Um, if you've chosen yes, so fight again is down here. So fight again, what this is supposed to do, and this is the part that actually I can't get to work. And I'm going to see if I can get it to work now. So I've got 32 minutes. Let's see if I can make this work. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make this kind of similar to a tabletop role-playing game where you have an initiative roll and that decides who goes first. So it might actually be that you are so fast that the monster doesn't even have a chance, or the monster's so fast that really you get schooled by this creature. So here's what we're gonna do. So okay, so it's gonna go to fight again, and fight again is down here. So the three equal signs and then fight again. I should actually be able to go two equal signs instead of the three, and the reason why I want to go two is because it puts it under sort of the umbrella of fight scene, and that way if I wanted to use that not again, I technically could. I wouldn't really, but I'm supposed to be able to. Okay, so fight again, and then so I have tilde. I'm having a temporary variable, and the temporary variable is going to be the initiative roll, which I want it to be random between 1 and 20. And then I want the initiative roll to be equal to the initiative roll plus the dexterity of the player. So if you roll a 4 and you have a +2 on your dexterity, then you've got 6 initiative. And then the monster does the same thing. So a temporary variable called monster initiative roll, which he's going to roll a die 20, and then it's going to be the monster initiative roll being equal. Oh, there's what I got. Okay, so the initiative roll. Okay, so that's where I've got my first problem, is I'm using the wrong variable on the monster. So this should be monster initiative roll plus monster dex. So it's possible that that's what's messing it up, because now what I want is to have a if this happens then do this kind of scenario, where if our initiative roll as a player is higher than the initiative roll of the monster, then we go first. So I have the squiggly bracket, the open squiggly bracket, a minus sign telling it that there's an if scenario coming up. So if initiative roll is greater than monster initiative roll, the colon, which is like your then, what I wanted to do is create a temporary variable called dice roll again, and randomize it between 1 and 20. So you're rolling a 20-sided dice, and the dice roll is going to equal whatever you've rolled plus your dexterity. So again, if you have a goblin has a where is it, +3 on dexterity, so if the goblin rolled a 3, then the goblin would get 6. And so the dice roll equals dice roll plus dex. So if your initiative roll is greater than the monster initiative roll, then, oh, this might be the problem actually. Hold on. Why do I have it doing a temporary dice roll here? So if the initiative roll is, if yours is bigger than the, see, this is where that logic comes in. You really got to think about what you're doing. And as you get more and more complicated into your games, this becomes more and more important, because what's going to happen is, what I want it to do is, if you win, then it's going to go to clobber, which is right here, and clobber is going to um, check that dice roll. Oh, this is why I have that. So the dice roll is greater than monster armor class, and oh, I wonder if I did I give the monster an armor class. Let's find out. Monsters. Um, oh, here. Okay, this might be the problem. I didn't give the monster an armor class. So I gave him strength, intelligence, dexterity, constitution, and health. So what I need is tilde monster underscore armor class is equal to, and generally 10, like I have it between 0 and 20. Well, not between 0 and 20, between 10 and 20 to start. And 10 is if you're not wearing any armor at all. So we're going to say that this monster is wearing like at least leather armor. So I'm going to give him an armor class of 12. Oh, and look, it changed already over on the other side. You shove the goblin hard in the chest. Okay, so that's why I haven't been able to hit the goblin, is because the goblin, I kind of made him invincible. So okay, so let's go back to that fight sequence. Okay, so that's what it was. So the dice roll is greater than the monster AC, and then I just noticed that it just did this thing down here where it said dice roll greater than monster AC. Um, oh, I have a feeling that that's just a mistake, because you shove the goblin in the chest. Keep fighting. Okay, let's see what happens if I say keep fighting. You're clobbered by the goblin in the head. Keep fighting. Clobber the goblin in the head. So now it's saying dice roll. Okay, so that's because I have a minus sign, which would work in an if-then scenario. But what I want is dice roll greater than monster. Oh no, actually, okay, monster AC. So actually, I do. So what I need here is to put the open brackets. If the dice roll of the monster is greater than, okay, so it's giving me an error, unresolved variable dice roll. So it might be because the dice roll is a temporary thing, that it's not remembering it down here because it's temporary. It's already forgotten it. So what I might have to do is just to create an actual variable that is a to hit variable, and which is actually not difficult to do at all. So, but let me just make sure that that's what it is. So okay, so clobber, it's going to check the dice roll variable. If the dice roll variable is greater than the monster AC, then it's going to do this, and then it's going to say keep fighting, run away. But what if it's less than the monster AC? Okay, so if it's actually less than the monster AC, so actually I'm going to put the choices into here, because then I'm going to tell it if, I'm going to say else, and this might actually fix it. So if the dice roll is less than the monster AC, then you miss the monster. I think that's right. It's an A underscore. Oops. Yeah, monster. You miss the monster. And then it's going to, I want to give those options again. Okay, so that should, there. That should work. Except that it's not recognizing that close squiggly bracket as an actual squiggly bracket. So what is the problem there? So let's say that if I put the squiggly bracket there, it doesn't either. Huh. I wonder why. Okay, so let's think about this. You know what? I might do this a different way. clobber the ground. Then you can either keep fighting or run away, or else you miss the monster, keep fighting, run away. Yeah, no, I got that right. So, huh. Okay, so let's just put this in here. Okay, so that's green, which is good, because it means that it's recognizing it. And then here, it's not. And then it's here it's going to say unresolved variable dice roll. Okay, so I have a feeling that it's just forgetting that variable from before because I'm in a new knot. And that's what the problem is. So what I'm going to do to fix that is I'm going to go back to my main file here, and I'm going to make a under I've got monster variables and I've got stats. So under stats I'm going to create a new variable. So I'm going to say var for variable, and then I'm going to call it to hit. I'm going to say 0, and then under monster I need to get the monster one as well, I take it. So variable, actually no, before I do that, let's just see if I even need to do that. So I'm going to go to monsters, and then now, not monsters, I'm going to go to fight sequence, and now here, where I, in the knot where I create that, the dice roll equals dice roll plus dex, I'm going to now say to hit is equal to dice roll. And then here, where I have the dice roll, I'm going to say to hit. And there we go. That fixed it. So that's what it was, is that as soon as I went into a new knot, the temporary variable was forgotten, and so it didn't understand. So what I had to do was to give it a global variable that works, a global variable that works throughout the entire program. And also really important too is to save your work every once in a while, because ink can be buggy. It is open source, and with lots of people working on it, it's an excellent program, but it does crash sometimes. Not very often though, I have to say. Like, for a free program, it's pretty cool. Okay, so now you can see on the right hand side, push the goblin to the ground, clobber the goblin, you're shoved by the goblin, heart in the chest. Okay, so what I don't know is, what are my hit points? Like, where am I at? So here's what I'm going to have. I want to have it so that I can check my stats without it. Like, if I just go to stats, which is my file, it's going to give me the picture. It's going to it gives me a lot of information. So really all I want is to know what my health is. So in that case, I actually think it should just tell you. That's what I'm going to have. I'm not going to have it that you have to ask for it, because I think if you have it so there's too many choices and you're asking for things all the time, that just gets really annoying. So here I'm going to have it to clobber. You clobber and shove hard in the chest. You miss the monster. So I think the only time you want to know is when you get clobbered, right? So let's say if I wanted to show the variable, then what I want to do is that tilde, the variable, which I have h underscore p, and then, oh no, sorry, that's not it. I'm going to say your health is, and then the squiggly brackets, and then the variable. And there we go. So now you can see your health is 8. So I'm going to say keep going. Clobber the goblin in the head. Keep going. Push the goblin to the ground. Keep going. You missed the goblin. Okay, so I have a feeling at this point what I don't have is nobody's doing any damage to anybody. That's just like a little shoving match. So, it's the friendliest battle with a goblin that any adventurer has ever had. And I also had it so that if you wanted to drink a healing potion while you're doing all this, you could, and that's what this is down here. So I'm actually going to erase this this not, because the healing potion, and this error is going to resolve in just a moment, but the healing potion is in another one of those squiggly brackets in an if-then situation, because it is basically if the variable a underscore healing is greater than 0, so 0 means you have no healing potions, then it's going to give you the option to drink healing potion. And then if you drink the healing potion, it's going to go to another file called healing potion where it heals you, and then it sends it back here again. And I'm going to put this, I'm going to copy this, and I'm actually going to put it, oh, that's still giving me an error, interesting. Okay, so I'll fix that in just one moment. Oh, because battle continues too, I just got rid of, that's why. Okay, so here under clobbered, that's when I'm going to want it, right? Because I can see what my health is. So let's say here, I'm going to put in the choice for healing potion if oh, let's just see if I might have to restart the game again to test it out, but basically I want to put in the choice for a healing potion if you have a healing potion. What I do find sometimes is that putting the if-then statements in after the actual choices sometimes it doesn't work. So I am going to put the healing potion choice at the top, the other choices at the bottom, and then I need to fix, oh, I think it's not working because I need to fix this. So what is this? So basically if okay, so battle continues. You know what? I don't need that either. So the way that I had this actually a different way for doing this, and it wasn't nearly as good as this, I think. But this is what I'm going to do. So if you're killed by the monster, it's not going to go to battle continues. It's actually going to go to death, which is going to end the game. And if you win, then you defeat the monster. Do you want to continue? Then go to fight return. Why wouldn't you continue? Why would it even? Why would I program it so that it gives you that choice? So so win, if the monster hit points. Okay, I'm just going to delete that. So I'm going to say if you win, then it's just going to say you defeat the monster and return to wherever you were in the game, because that makes the most sense. And you can see now on the right hand side the game has kind of resolved itself, it's fixed. However, what we still don't have is anybody getting damaged. So okay, so clobber is if you get the initiative and you hit. So because you hit over their armor class. So if you clobber the monster, then what I want is for so the tilde monster hit points to be equal to monster hit points minus and I don't think I actually put this into the game either, is how much damage each of the weapons do. Because let's just take a look at that, because the weapons, okay, when you're buying the weapons, I have it so that, okay, so for example, you can buy a sword for 20 gold. If you buy the sword, it's going to make the sword +1 because with 0 is you don't have the sword, 1 is that you have the sword. So what we really need now is in order for the fight sequence to work is a damage stat. So I'm just gonna, and actually I do have it right here. So I'm gonna actually put the variable a damage at 0. I'm just gonna start there, so that when we are at Bailey's, and oh, actually no, you know why I had it at 4? Because if you're just using your fists, then it's a base of 4. So that's it. So now I'm gonna have it that if you go to not to Bailey's, because the only way that your damage would go up to 4 is if you equip it. So if you need to go to your equipment, go to your weapon switch, which we did last week, if you remember the weapon switch, and and actually I do have it here. So using your hands. Oh, using your hands does no damage. So no. So using your hands is going to do 4 damage. Um, okay, so that's why I had that. So actually 4 damage plus Dex. Oh no, Strength. Strength would be your bonus on your hit. So I could even have it that it's just your strength bonus, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna say 4 plus strength. Actually no, because you could like knock something clean out, and so actually yeah, I'm just gonna have it. A damage equals whatever your strength bonus is. Um, your okay, so your sword, the damage is going to be a damage is equal to um, yeah. So this is where I had. So what I'm going to say is 2 plus str, and then for mace I'm going to say 3 plus str. Axe I'm going to say 4 plus str, and the halberd is going to be 5 plus str. Hammer is the best thing to have, which is 6 plus str. Okay. There. And I'm not sure why I have 8 damage is greater than... oh, I think I have 8 damage is greater than 10 because that was the possibility for your sword. So your sword, which does the least, the most it could be is 3. Um, if you have like +1 strength, which actually would be funny because then you'd be better off just using your hands. Because your hands, well, no, because if you have +1, oh, never mind. Okay, I'm getting too bogged down with the math portion of this, and that's not really my strength. So let's go back to the writing. Okay, so here instead of greater than 10, I want to have it if it's great if a damage is equal to something greater than actually if it's well that's a tough one because if you have +5 strength then um, you know what, I'm actually going to take this out and I'm just going to have it that it gives you an option for using your fists or your feet. Like, why not? There. Oops. There. That should work. Okay. So you can you because you always have your fists and feet. So it makes sense that you could always use that. So now everything has a damage variable based on your strength bonus. So now if I go to the fight sequence, I'm going to say the monster hit points equals monster hit points minus, oops, I'm all in caps for some reason, minus the damage, minus your damage bonus. And then if otherwise the monster hits, or the clobbered, if the monster hits you, then I would have it that so the tilde health points are equal to health points minus, and then I need to create a variable for the monster so that the monster does damage. So the monster, and actually that I was thinking I should change what the damage variable is here so I can find it easier, but I'm just going to leave it there for now. So monster variables, I am going to have another variable, so variable var monster underscore damage, and it's going to be equal right now to 0. Okay, so now fight sequence. So health points equals whatever the health points are minus monster damage. And that's not the variable I just created. Monster underscore damage. Okay. Monster underscore damage. There. So basically what that means is if you have 10 hit points, then your hit points are going to be 10 minus whatever the monster does. So now what we need is for the monster to actually do some damage. So clobbered. You are clobbered by the monster in the head, shoved by the monster hard in the chest, pushed by the monster to the ground. What I could do is have all of those things do different variables of damage, but I'm not. For now, I'm just gonna put in one to make it a little bit easier because I've got like 8 minutes, so that I can show you how to do this. So I'm going to have it the tilde saying that we are about to change another variable. I'm actually going to have a temporary variable called damage, and I'll show you why in just a second. And the damage, the temporary variable damage, is going to be equal to a random number, and the random number is going to be between 1 comma 5. So the goblin can do 1 to 5 of damage, plus, and I think this will work, plus strength. Okay. You're clobbered by the goblin in the head, your health is 10. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't have to do that temporary variable. What we can just do is monster damage. Okay, so monster damage is now going to be random 1 to 5 plus strength. Ooh. Your health went down to -2. Oh my goodness. Okay. I might have to either give more hit points or make the monsters just a little bit less deadly. Because right now 5, 6, 7, 8, and if you've only got like 6 hit points, you're gone. So that's the other thing that we have to find out is, are you gone? So before it says your health is, what we need to do is to say, open if bracket, if your so minus sign, if your hit points are if your hit points are less than 1, so if it's 0 or under, then, so the colon, you have perished by the slimy claws of the, and then I have to make sure that that's going to work for all of the, the creature's not goblin, a monster, and then it's going to go right to death. Otherwise, if you're not there, it's going to go to else. Your health is there. Yeah, so you can see already on the other side, it's realized that I'm kind of bested by the goblin. Okay, so let's just spend the last minute just testing this out, see if it works. So I'm going to start from the beginning, and I continue to create my character. I'm going to go by he, him. Strength is +3, intelligence +4, dexterity +2, health 10, and continue. I'm going to adventure for real, and then I definitely, I want to buy the map, and I want some weapons. So I'm going to buy a sword, and I want some armor, and I want the padded, because that's all I have the money for. And then I want to change this too, so it doesn't just say check your inventory. I wanted to say check your inventory or equip yourself or something. So I'm going to think about that. Maybe by next week I'll have thought of what I can do. Okay, so check or switch your weapons. I want to use the sword. And then check or switch your armor. I want to use the padded. Okay, a little bit more equipped to go fight that goblin now. Because I remember at first, like in the beginning, like an hour ago, I was like, oh, the goblin's so easy. Yeah, definitely not as easy as I thought. So now I'm going to return to the quest, and I'm going to be on my way. And let's go continue. Continue. I want the quarter so that I can initiate the goblin fight. There's a goblin. We'll use your sword and prepare for battle. Yes. The goblin circle is ready to attack. You're clobbered by the goblin. Your health is 4. Oh no. Keep fighting. You shove the goblin hard in the chest. Okay. See, and I don't know what his health is, and I shouldn't either because because you don't know. But what it could do is I could make it so that if a creature's health is less than certain numbers, then it says something. Okay, so keep fighting. Clobber the goblin in the head. Keep going. Push the goblin to the ground. You're shoved by goblin in the chest. Oh, it killed me. You have perished by the slimy claws of the goblin. Alas, you've been bested by the dangers. But I think that's, what, the one thing I didn't do is I didn't actually. I didn't put in anything to say check the monster's hit points. So, I mean, I might have actually killed the goblin. So, I need to do that too. So, you know what? I'll do that another time. We are unfortunately out of time for programming our Inkle game. I hope that you found all of this helpful, and I hope that it worked for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at the library, and I would be more than happy to answer. But as I said, we'll be continuing this in 2 weeks. So not this coming Thursday, but or a week from now, but 2 weeks from now, and then we'll have a fourth one, and that'll be it for 2020 for learning how to program on Ink. So have a really good day, everybody.